Yashodanandana Vraja Janaranjana Yashodanandana Vraja Janaranjana Yamuna Tiravanachari Yamuna Tiravanachari Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare जय विष्णु भारत परमहंस परिव्राजक श्री श्रीमद डिवाइन ग्रेस श्री भक्तिवेदांत स्वामी श्री प्रभुपाद की जय। इसका फाउंडर आचार्य श्री प्रभुपाद की जय। जय विष्णु भारत परमहंस परिव्राजक आचार्य अष्टोत्तर श्री श्रीमद भक्ति सिद्धांत सरस्वती ठाकुर प्रभुपाद की जय। नामाचार्य श्री हरिदास ठाकुर की जय। जय गौर प्रेमानंदी। All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Shri Guru and Shri Gauranga. All glories to Shri Prabhupada, Jagat Guru Shri Prabhupada ki jai. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Reading from Canto 3, Chapter 5, text number 39 of Srimad Bhagavatam. Title: Vidura's Talks with Maitreya. Text 39. Deva uchuhu namamate deva padaravindam prapanna tapopashamata patram prapanna tapopashamata patram yanmulaketa yatayo anjasarau Yanmulaketa yatayo anjasoru samsara dukham bahirutkshipanti samsara dukham bahirutkshipanti. Namamate deva padaravindam prapannatapopashamatapatram yanmulaketa yatayo anjasoru samsara dukham bahirutkshipanti. Mati deva padarvindam Please repeat word for word. Deva Uchuhu. The demigod said, Namama. We offer our respectful obeisances. Te, your, Deva, O Lord, Pada Aravindam, lotus feet, Prapana, surrendered, Tapa, distress, Upasama, suppresses, Atapatram, umbrella, Yat Mula Ketaha, shelter of the lotus feet, Yatayaha, great sages, Anjasa, totally, Uru, great, Samsara Dukham, miseries of material existence, Bahi, out, Utshipanti, forcibly throw. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Translation. The demigods said, O Lord, your lotus feet are like an umbrella for the surrendered souls, protecting them from all the miseries of material existence. All the sages under that shelter throw off all material miseries. All the sages under that shelter throw off all material miseries. We therefore offer our respectful obeisances unto your lotus feet. Purport. There are many sages and saints who engage in trying to conquer rebirth and all other material miseries. But of all of them, those who take shelter under the lotus feet of the Lord can completely throw off all such miseries without difficulty. Others who are engaged in transcendental activities in different ways cannot do so. For them it is very difficult. They may artificially think of becoming liberated without accepting the shelter of the lotus feet of the Lord, but that is not possible. One is sure to fall again to material existence from such false liberation, even though one may have undergone severe penances and austerities. This is the opinion of demigods, who are not only well versed in Vedic knowledge, but are also seers of the past, present, and future. The opinions of the demigods are valuable because the demigods are authorized to hold positions in the affairs of universal management. They are appointed by the Lord as His confidential servants. Om Jnanatimmirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurve Namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. So we have just started a very beautiful topic, that is prayers by the demigods. We also hear the prayers in the 10th canto when the demigods are offering prayer for appearance of Krishna. So this is also another part where demigods have also offered prayers. So I just wanted to speak something about today on the point of prayers, making prayers. Because we often hear, can you turn the volume down a little? Please, thank you. We often hear that there's so much prayers, like the whole, everything we do, whatever we read is prayers, If you open Bhagavad Gita, you open Srimad Bhagavatam, you open Chaitanya Charitamrita, prayers and prayers and prayers, right? One may wonder, in Bhagavad Gita, where are the prayers? We see Arjuna offer prayers to Krishna when he sees the universal form, right? So prayers are very crucial. Prayers are very important, especially for a devotee. What does a devotee have? What is the possession? What is the belongings of a devotee? A devotee doesn't have anything, a pure devotee. The only thing a devotee has is prayers to offer to Krishna. You can be a greatest Brahmana or you can be a greatest Shudra. The only thing you can offer with full devotion mostly is prayers. Because there's nothing greater that pleases more to Krishna than the prayers offered sincerely from the hands of a devotee. So this is like a very crucial point that we need to know. We can start anywhere in Bhagavatam or we can just open anywhere in Bhagavatam. We'll see more prayers than you will see in Mahabharata or Ramayana. That's why Bhagavatam is so special. That is why Bhagavatam is called the essence. If you want to get love of Godhead, the love of Supreme Personality of Godhead, that's why one should read Bhagavatam. Because what do we learn from Bhagavatam? Is how to offer prayers to the Supreme Lord Krishna, right? Because we see, in Bhagavatam, just by starting the first chapter, we even invocation is Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. What does that mean? I offer my respects to Vasudeva, So the prayers are very crucial, It's without prayers there is no success in bhakti. One may often think like I'm doing my devotional service. That's the greatest devotional service is important. But what if one is doing service mechanically, without mentally offering respects? There will still be benefit because there is no loss or diminution in whatever service one performs. But if one is not mentally offering prayers to Krishna while performing that service, if one is not thinking of Krishna, what is the point of that service, How advanced one may think one will become. In bhakti. So prayers are very crucial. And especially in this verse, Prabhupada mentions that the demigods, there are many sages and saints who engage in trying to conquer rebirth and all other material miseries. But of all of them, those who take shelter under the lotus feet of the Lord can completely throw off all such miseries without difficulty. When we think of umbrella, what does come to mind? Govardhan Hill comes to mind. Because Krishna lifted Govardhan Hill as an umbrella to protect all his devotees. And all his devotees, all the Vrajvasis were free of misery, free of distress. The only distress they had was, we need to help Krishna, who is holding this Govardhan Hill. He himself cannot do it. We need to put our little sticks, hold it with sticks. What can a stick? Can a stick hold? 3, 4, 20,000 sticks, can 20,000 little twigs hold Govardhan Hill? No, but still their bhava is different. Their relationship with Krishna is different. So, but for our devotees like us, who are in the process of unalloyed devotional service, we are in that process. We're not there yet that we can hold sticks for Krishna. We're not there yet. So what should one do? I was reading this interesting point that Prabhupada made, that for us, we need to follow. We're not even qualified to make our own prayers to Krishna. Prabhupada was saying that we can try to give our prayers to Krishna, whatever comes from the heart, but Krishna will be more pleased when we offer the prayers that are already offered by the demigods or the acharyas or the great parampara, because we are coming through the disciplic succession, right? We see in ISKCON, Prabhupada didn't set up any new prayers, by himself that he made. All the prayers we sing are already said by the acharyas, the previous disciplic succession. So this is an interesting point that Prabhupada was making, that one should offer, if we offer our own prayers, that is good, right? That is good. That is a personal relationship with Krishna. If we offer our own prayers, we feel that personal relationship. But one doesn't mean that one shouldn't offer or should not offer the prayers given by the acharyas or the demigods or Brahma and Shiva. They've all offered these great, beautiful prayers. Because when we chant these same prayers in front of Krishna, we become more connected to Krishna through the disciplic succession. So I thought that was a very beautiful point. Even if we see ISKCON, our whole, since morning till night, that's how it's set up. The first thing we do is when we sing Vande Guru Shri Charana Ravindam every morning, that we're offering our respects to the spiritual master. That's how we start our morning. For initiated devotees, it is recommended when you wake up, you chant the pranam mantra of your guru. So as soon as we wake up, the first thing we do is offer respects, to our leaders, to our guru, to our spiritual master. So that's how bhakti is done. Just from the very beginning, we start with offering prayers. Because for a devotee, there is nothing greater than offering prayers. Because a devotee doesn't want to do anything other than to offer prayers to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, right? You start from Queen Kunti in the 8th chapter, is the 8th chapter, prayers of Queen Kunti, 7th chapters, or somewhere around that, 8th or 9th chapter. I think it's 8th, but I'm not sure. So, we offer prayers of Queen Kunti, what is the whole chapter? The whole chapter is Kunti Maharani in great level of devotional service. She's offering prayers to Krishna. What is she? She's a queen, She can offer many other things, but what has she got? She lost everything. Her son is gone. She's in a lot of distress. But what does one do? Just offer prayers to Krishna, because there's no other shelter other than Krishna. That's why we read Bhagavatam, to see all these great devotees, realized or non-realized, they still offer prayers to Krishna, Like Kunti Maharani's greatest prayers, chanting the name of, one of the most famous prayers we know in our Bhakti tradition. Almost everyone knows that prayer of let all the calamities come again and again. Because when the calamities come, that's only when we will see you and free from rebirth. That prayer. So that's like a very beautiful prayer. And Kunti Maharani is teaching us how we can take shelter of Krishna better, by these prayers. Because these prayers are just not done, we want some material gain. Kunti Maharani did not offer any prayers that asked for material benedictions. The only prayers, all the prayers she offered was for her to be closer to Krishna, mentally and physically. That's all the prayers she had to offer. She said, as the river Ganges forever flows to the sea, let my mind, my being be constantly drawn to thee. That's the prayer she's offering in Bhagavatam. We hear that, right? She says, as the river Ganges forever flowing to the sea. We know the river Ganges is constantly flowing to the sea. That's the end stop. So she's saying that for us, for our mind, the end stop should be only you. That we only think of you. and nothing else. There's many other great prayers, and there's a whole book called Teachings of Queen Kunti. You can read so many beautiful prayers just by reading, because I think Teachings of Queen Kunti was very dear. Well, the prayers of Queen Kunti was very dear to Prabhupada. I was hearing Radhanath Swami Maharaj was saying in one of the classes that Prabhupada often would talk about prayers of Queen Kunti, because they're like one of the most elevated platforms of prayer. That actually teaches us how one should offer prayers, really, in one sense, Then there's many other great prayers. You can just open any random page and you'll see some prayers, Like in this verse, we have the prayers by the demigods, Now, as we know, it's a very interesting point that came to mind while I was reading this purport. So, like how they may artificially think of becoming liberated without accepting the shelter of the lotus feet of the Lord, but that is not possible. One is sure to fall again to material existence from such false liberation, even though one may have undergone severe penances and austerities. Now, as we know, to become a demigod, you have to go through a lot of penances and austerities, right? And there are many people that may aspire for that power, for that, that higher pleasure, that we can get at the level of being a demigod. Like we see, they have like bigger, better lifestyle. They have better people around them, everything is better. Quality compared in material quality compared to our life and their life, everything have better. So if you want to have better quality, you want to become a demigod. That's why we see so many of these sages and these people, these yogis, they meditate to get that opulence. I want to get that opulence. So that's what they do meditation for. Years and years of tapasya, performing to get that opulence. And when they get that opulence, what do? They offer prayers to Supreme Personality of Godhead that we don't want this opulence. We have wasted our life. Because Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, right? It's like when one goes up from the highest planet in the material world down to the lowest, all are places of misery, where repeated birth and death take place. How does it go? Abrahma bhuvana loka punaravartino arjuna. Right? So from the places in the material world down from the Patala Loka to top to the Brahma Loka, all are places of misery. So one should know that. That's why we read Bhagavad Gita, so we can understand this basic point, Getting more opulence doesn't going to solve any problems. We'll probably have more problems, because we know the demigods have more problems than we have actually, if you think about it. Like, if you take the position of Indra, you're always constantly in anxiety that someone is going to take your position, We know, like, even if it's a politician or even a small owner of a company or maybe a CEO, who's running a company of 20 people, has always got that anxiety. If this guy works better than me, he's going to take my position. So I always have to keep him under check, under control, that he can't defeat me. So this is what's going on everywhere, top, bottom, wherever you go. Because it's a Ferris wheel, Prabhupada explains in one of the purports, in the demigod purports in Bhagavad Gita, that it's like Ferris wheel. You go up, you got to come down. So there is for a smart and intelligent person, there is no point to go up there, get that opulence and become a demigod. Because we see the demigods in Bhagavatam are already offering prayers to Krishna that we don't want to be demigods. What's the point of all this? Even though they are confidential servants of Krishna, right? They are appointed by Krishna for that position. So that's why a smart person can read it and understand what's the point of all this. So instead, one should just focus on the bhakti process and become elevated from all this misery and go straight to the highest, the Vaikuntha Loka, Goloka Vrindavan, even better. Go there, So how can one does it? How can one take shelter of Krishna? As Prabhupada says that under the umbrella, right? That's what it's mentioned here. Your lotus feet are like an umbrella for the surrendered souls. Now we hear often, in Bhagavatam we hear it a little bit, but if you read Chaitanya Charitamrita, you see the glories of the lotus feet of Lord Chaitanya, Because every devotee, all they want is the dust of the lotus feet. All they want. Like I was just reading a pastime where Lord Chaitanya is traveling to Vrindavan. What to speak of living entities, humans, even animals, they get ecstatic when Lord Chaitanya would put his feet on top of one of the lions or something, one of the deers. And that deer will just become ecstatic and become a great devotee and chant Hare Krishna, Imagine deers chanting Hare Krishna, We can't conceive, but they're chanting. So, just because we cannot understand what they're chanting, doesn't mean we know what they're chanting. So, this is the whole point, that in Chaitanya Charitamrita you see great devotees, great Advaita Acharya who's Krishna himself, He wants the dust of the lotus feet of Lord Chaitanya. So that's how glorious. And when you talk about the prayers in Chaitanya Charitamrita, it's just full of prayers. It starts with the end. The beginning and the end, it's all prayers. Krishna Das Kaviraj in such an ecstatic mood of worshipping Lord Chaitanya. Practically every chapter, he starts with what? Jai Jai Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda. Glorifying, offering prayers to Lord Nityananda, Lord Advaita Acharya, Lord Chaitanya, and all the devotees of Lord Chaitanya. So that's the mood of a devotee. A devotee doesn't want to offer prayers to something that is not related to Krishna. He doesn't even want to think of anything that's not related to Krishna. So the greatest asset a devotee has, we should know this, right? The greatest asset we have is to offer prayers sincerely to Krishna. Because when we offer prayers sincerely to Krishna, our mind, our heart, it just draws to Krishna. Like there's an example in Bhagavatam, like how in Vrindavan, when Krishna would go, it's like magnet, how magnet is drawn to iron. Everyone would just automatically be drawn to iron. Even in Chaitanya Charitamrita, when Lord Chaitanya would visit a place, everyone will come together and they wouldn't leave him. They'll walk behind him for hours and hours and hours, right? Before Lord Chaitanya was going to go to Vrindavan, there was a whole discussion on that. When he was going with his whole full army to Vrindavan, and he's like, this full army going, and then I think it was Rupa or Sanatan, one of the two brothers told Lord Chaitanya that you shouldn't go with so many people to Vrindavan. And Lord Chaitanya is like, he called the council to figure out how to stop the people following him, because everyone wants to be in the association of Lord Chaitanya, right? So there's a whole discussion about that. How should I leave him, And what did he do, Lord Chaitanya? During the middle of the night, he woke up and he left straight from Vrindavan through a back sideway entrance from the forest. He didn't take the main road, because everyone will see him there and start following him again. So he took like the forest way, the forest route. All he had was one servant for them. He wasn't even a pure devotee. It's amazing, right? Every time Lord Chaitanya goes traveling, the first time he went traveling to South India tour, he had a devotee who wasn't a pure devotee, but he was like favorable toward Lord Chaitanya. So he went serving Lord Chaitanya, and he did fall down for a while. He was in bad association, and then Lord Chaitanya saved him because he has performed service. So it's duty of Lord Chaitanya to save devotees who have performed service from all miseries, right? So he brought him back, and then he requested, please give me a person who's not going to trouble me like that, because it takes endeavor for Krishna to protect you from Maya, right? He's working hard to bring you back to himself, only if you sincerely desire, or if he has seen that there is some great, little sincerity, right? That's what Krishna needs, is a little sincerity. We say that if you take one step towards Krishna, Krishna will take 10 steps towards you, right? So that's what we need to learn. Now we should try to make that at least one step towards Krishna, right? And then don't worry, because then he'll take care of everything else. There's a famous Bengali proverb. What is it? If Krishna can kill you, or if Krishna wants you dead, nothing can protect you. If Krishna wants to protect you, nothing can kill you. I don't know how it goes in Bengali. Does anyone remember? How does it go? Mare Krishna Rake Krishna Mare ke. Yeah. So it's very beautiful. So all these things, we should learn. And as I was saying, in ISKCON, our whole daily activities are centered around prayers and offering respects to Krishna daily. We wake up in the morning, we offer our respects to the spiritual master, sing Vande Guru Shri Charana Ravindam, then what we do? We sing Nrsimha Arati, protect for protection. Ask for protection from Lord Nrsimha, who's protector of bhakti, who protects all, who destroys all disturbances and calamities that come in the way of our devotional service. That's why we ask for protection from Lord Nrsimha, offering prayers to Lord Nrsimha. Yeah, so Namaste Narsingaya, offering respects, offering prayers to Lord Nrsimha. And then what we do, we offer Tulasi Puja. What we do, offering prayers to Tulsi Maharani. That's how we start a day. We have had three kirtans, 3 programs, and all 3 have been prayers to different people, different personalities. First the spiritual master, then Krishna himself in Lord Nrsimha Dev's form, and then the devotee of Krishna, the great devotee of Krishna, Tulsi Maharani. So, and any song you pick, any random song you pick from our books and literature, or even Damodar Ashtaka, right, which is glorifying the pastimes of Damodar, Krishna. There's no need for a prayer to Lord Radharani in that pastime. But that's the end. That's how the Acharyas have ended the beautiful song, Namo Radhikaya Priya Twadya Priyaya, right? Namo Ananta Leelaya Devaya Tubhya. So that's the prayer. There's no Radharani's pastime in Damodar Leela, in the song. There's no fit for that. But still, the Acharyas, because they know the love and devotion, without glorifying and offering respects to a great devotee, or Radharani who's Krishna, life is not complete. So that's why we offer our respectful obeisance to Srimati Radharani, in that prayer. So then we chant Hare Krishna after singing Tulsi Arati. Then we chant Hare Krishna for 1.5 hours, 2 hours, And what are we doing? We're just asking Krishna to give us more devotional service. Because when we get more devotional service, we'll be able to purify and offer these prayers more sincerely, right? And then we have Darshanarti. What do we do at Darshanarti? Govindam Adi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami. A great prayer. These are one of the topmost prayers offered by Lord Brahma, who's the creator. Creator himself is offering these great prayers, and we just repeat those prayers to Krishna because it pleases Krishna, right? So as I explained before, if you go through the parampara for the prayers, it's got more benefit. So then what do? We have Guru Puja, offer prayers to our spiritual master again. Because we know a spiritual master is the only one who can enlighten us, remove the darkness in our eyes, and let us see the real spiritual path of bhakti. Right? Then we have Bhagavatam class. Talk about Krishna again, offer prayers to the spiritual master before starting the Bhagavatam class. Om Agyana Timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya. My spiritual master has opened my eyes to the torch of knowledge. Right? So this is bhakti. That's how one can tell what we are studying is actually practically being applied. You may go to any other temple. Nobody would care what do you come and do, You do whatever you like. People are just sitting there talking prajalpa, full-on prajalpa. Even sometimes we see in this one, many people come and they just talk. But this shouldn't be the objective. A pure devotee or a devotee in the path of perfection would not act like that. For him, the only secret or the only thing to do is to offer prayers to Krishna. Because that's how we can advance in bhakti. Devotional service, yes, that's one of the most important, crucial ways. But if that devotional service is done without prayers, it's incomplete, right? Because mentally, if you're not constantly engaged in thinking of Krishna, it'll become difficult. Initially, you just start bhakti. You may not have, originally, you may not have thoughts, or you may not have any inclination towards offering prayers, because, of course, we come from an envious platform towards Krishna, right? That's how we start. So the only reason we are here in the material world because we were envious of Krishna. And what is the cure of envy? I was reading this beautiful verse the other day, which actually tells us the secret. What is the cure of envy? I tried to learn it, but I have forgotten the Sanskrit. I'll try to look. There we go. I'll just say the English, or we can just say the Sanskrit too. So it says, it's in 4th canto, You can find it there. Yatra dante katham ristas trishnaya prasamo yatha nirvairam yatra bhuteshu nadvego yatra kaschana. It's a very beautiful verse where it is said that wherever pure topics of the transcendental world are discussed, the members of the audience forget all kinds of material hankerings, at least for the time being. Not only that, but they are no longer envious of one another, nor do they suffer from anxiety or fear. So this is what we're doing right now. We are engaging in hearing the transcendental topics. So we don't feel envious towards each other during these. We shouldn't feel envy, because that's what the Bhagavatam is saying. Just during that time at least. Later we can feel envious, because that's part of our conditioning, to feel envy towards other people, and towards, which originally roots from the envy towards the Supreme. So one shouldn't be envious. When we offer prayers, we're actually helping ourselves to get free of envy, right? We have these beautiful prayers of Shikshastakam from Lord Chaitanya, right? When just by chanting those prayers, I don't know if anyone's ever felt it, we felt deeply connected, by those prayers. Just by those prayers of Shikshastakam. They're very deep. They're not just randomly saying, I don't want any material benefit or no women, I just want to be the greatest, I just want to be the servant. We don't feel like that most of the time, but that doesn't mean we shouldn't offer these same prayers, because Krishna himself is offering these prayers in the form of himself as a devotee, right? Lord Chaitanya, who is Krishna himself, is offering these prayers to himself. It's unbelievable, So Krishna is telling us what should be the mood of a devotee. A little separation, just for a little second, a devotee does not like that from Krishna. He doesn't want to do it. We know these great stories from Chaitanya Charitamrita, when Sachi Mata, who's Yashoda, incarnation of Yashoda herself, just a little separation from Lord Chaitanya would make her faint. When Lord Chaitanya took sannyas, she was in so much distress. We think about the material distress, her distress, which is spiritual, is 100 times greater than any material distress we can imagine. Like in material world, the distress is like pretty much useless. We think about like small petty things and take distress on that. Like, he said something to me yesterday that I did not like, and that has hurt me very much. And then we think 7 days until something bigger happens. So, that we take distress about small tiny things. And here Sachi Mata is feeling spiritual distress, which is Krishna has left her and gone. Taken sannyas. For a mother, that's just, imagine for a mother, that is, for an Indian mother, it's even worse, So, it's time of distress. That's why we learn. And what does Sachi Mata do at the end? She just offers respects. The great devotees come, they pacify Sachi Mata, and then Sachi Mata in the realized form, and she's fully realized, but because of her parental affection, she could not see. It was for the greatest benefit. Then everyone tells her, then she offers respects to Lord Chaitanya. And then she accepts it. And whenever she sees Lord Chaitanya come back, she'll go to Advaita Acharya's house and she'll cook this ecstatic, biggest feast you'll ever see. It is explained in Chaitanya Leela that in those pastimes when Lord Chaitanya would visit Advaita Acharya in Shantipur, Mother Sachi would come and she would say, no one else would cook for Lord Chaitanya other than me. Right? I will cook for Lord Chaitanya myself. And then she would make like these unlimited preparations. Krishna Das Kaviraj Goswami says, no one can count how many preparations are there, because there's so many of them. There's like over 20 or 30 different varieties of spinach. Just imagine that. We cook like 2 items we don't know. Like I'm started this cooking role, right? I get confused after 2 days of cooking. I don't know what to cook. And she's cooking over 30 different varieties of spinach in just one go, So this is the bhav. This is what we learn from these great stories and pastimes. So we're almost up on time. I can speak a little more, but if there's any realizations, questions, corrections, I would like to take some. Yes, bro? Well, I mean, my memory isn't very good. I've read a few stories, but one of my favorite ones, I can share that pastime. When one day Lord Chaitanya is walking with Srivas Pandit on the outskirts of Navadvip. And that's Lord Chaitanya hasn't taken sannyas, he's still Nimai Pandit, right? One of the great scholarly persons in Navadvip. He's walking, and this is an example that we can learn how beautifully connection a devotee. Well, what's the attitude of a devotee while worshipping the Supreme, right? Because Lord Chaitanya, he sees like these people drinking in a bar, outside a bar there's like a place where you can drink and smoke. Probably, I don't know what's that time, how the bars used to be like, but I'm just imagining what I have seen in today's time. So I can just only imagine through my little perception of what I have seen. I don't know what it used to be back at 500 years ago. I don't know. I wasn't there. So all I know is that, the Lord Chaitanya sees these people drinking. And what did they do? They said, when you're a little tipsy, had like a few beers or something, you just get a little tipsy and then you just want to talk a lot. In that attitude, they glorified Lord Chaitanya. They said, oh look, here's Lord Chaitanya, his kirtans are very nice. Because, when you get a little tipsy, you want to hear the music and just groove with it, So that's what it goes. We see that today also, people, many times we go on Harinam, on street Harinam, and there are people like a little tipsy that just jump in and dance and chant. They're getting benefit, right? Little by little, but they're getting benefit. Even though in an intoxicated state, they're getting benefit. So all these people, they glorify Lord Chaitanya by saying, oh, his kirtans are very nice. We really enjoy his kirtan. Well, before that, sorry, I just skipped a little. Before that, Lord Chaitanya saw these people drinking, and he was very angry. I'm going to go inside and, destroy all these people. Because they are engaged in such horrendous activities of intoxication, wasting their life. And that's the mood of a devotee. Because Srivas Pandit is saying, you are the most magnanimous. You have appeared to deliver people from the greatest sin. You cannot show your anger form, you should just calm down. Otherwise people will judge you. People will not treat you as the most magnanimous, so the most merciful. So then they glorified Lord Chaitanya, and then Lord Chaitanya just delivered them. Just by looking at them, Lord Chaitanya delivered. So that's the mood of Srivas Pandit. He tried to stop because Krishna wanted to go and kill. Lord Chaitanya wanted to go and kill. And Srivas Pandit blackmailed Lord Chaitanya that if you go and do something to these people, I'm going to go commit suicide. I'm going to go jump in the Ganges. And then he said, all right, just because of you, I will not go. So that's the mood of a great saintly person. And Srivas Pandit is like very, very high up there. We have almost every pastime we see the Srivas Pandit present in the association of Lord Chaitanya. He's right there with them. Because he wouldn't do anything Lord Chaitanya doesn't do anything other than consulting Srivas Pandit. So I don't know much pastime, doesn't come to mind at the moment, but I can look some up and send it to you. So we can enjoy this beautiful day of remembering Srivas Pandit. Oh, you have some in your mind that you would like to share? Yeah? It's just time up, we'll stop here. Grantraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Srivas Pandit ki jai, Tagore Premanandi.